there's still, this illusion, and it's partially a result of settler colonialism, that all of us can become New Yorkers, that all of us can settle into the city. And yet there would be these moments where I would be reminded by someone whose intent was to tell me that you do not belong. And one of those first moments was on 9/11, when, before I knew what had happened, my teacher had pulled me and a Muslim classmate of mine out of the class and told us that something has happened and you may be bullied. And I want you to tell me if that happens. And frankly, I was lucky because most Muslim students in the city were not given that kind of care from their teachers. And yet in that moment, I realized that I was not simply another classmate in a middle school. I was distinct. And there was a marker of that distinction on me. And it was something that I would be reminded of again and again. It was something when we came back from a trip abroad, being pulled aside at JFK by immigration agents in a double-mirrored room, sitting me down on my own while my family was outside, and asking me if I had just attended a terrorist training camp, and if I had intentions of attacking this country, and if so, what were those plans? And it's something that has continued in the time since, where a few months ago I went with a client of mine to a bankruptcy court, and as we're going into the court, the security guard takes me aside and pats me down with additional care and asks me multiple times if I have any weapons of mass destruction on me. And in these moments, the sense of not knowing where home is, they're amplified by what I would see around me.
Now you will notice that this Indian piece of trash, this communist, is now pretending to be a victim. Nobody can play victim better than a communist. Now, you know that you have communism running through your blood when you're able to make, after about 3,000 Americans are slaughtered, you make it about you being harassed. Not all Muslims are terrorists, but just about all terrorists are Muslim. And here's the thing that gets me. He said he had to be detained one time. So what? A bunch of Americans been detained many times. Hell, we was having to take our shoes off for like 20 years because some Muslim tried to blow things up with his damn shoes. So get over it. So sick of these filthy communists, these socialists acting like victims because they have to follow the laws. Well, if a bunch of people like you is blowing up stuff, what you expect? Now he's a victim. I'm gonna call him the Indian Barack Obama, because he's about to be the mayor of New York, and he's probably gonna win for sure. And he's still playing victim. This is the same piece of trash that said his mother was doing a movie and she made sure all the whites were like the help, the maids and the butlers, I guess.
Because my mother made a film called Mississippi Masala and met my father in the process of it. And at the time, she was looking for funding for that film, and she told the story. It was about a love story between an African-American man and an Indian-Ugandan woman. And she went up to a financier, and he said, where are the white actors in this story? And she said, don't worry, they'll be the waiters. And she taught me that if we don't tell our own stories, no one else will. And too often when it comes to stories about people of color, by people of color, we don't have that funding.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that. These communists, see, this is what's wrong with our country. It's okay to be inviting. It's okay to have immigrants from another country. But damn it, they should be assimilating to the American way. I see it all the time. You go in these stores, you see them somewhere, and there ain't a bit more trying to assimilate to Americans' customs than a man living on the sun. They come over here with their customs and how proud they are. They want to cause a bunch of ruckus in the street, bells ringing, talk about their prayer 5 times a day. Why don't he go back to his country? Ain't your country Muslim? All these people want to come to this country, but they don't want to assimilate like we supposed to be assimilating. I don't like your customs. If I like your custom, I would go to your damn country. If I like Sharia law and humping goats, I would go to your country, but I will never visit your country because it's trash. See, See, this is what just dumbfounds me about all these leftists. One say they hate the country so much. You couldn't pay them to lead this damn country. But they keep telling you how racist it is, but they talk about another country. They don't ever talk about racism. They don't ever talk about the women being exploited, children being molested. They won't talk about that, the government being completely corrupt, you having no freedom of speech. He had to get searched one time. They asked him, he probably lying anyway. The story is probably made up, because that's what leftists do. They sensationalize and pretend to be victim, make up stories, and then there's no truth to the damn story. But just for argument's sake, just say this Indian piece of trash was stopped at the airport. There's plenty of people get stopped at the airport. There's people who get pulled to the side and their stuff searched many times for nothing. I've seen it happen to grandmas. So what if it happened to you? We need to keep things safe, right? This is the same fraud who wants to let all the prisoners out of prison. I bet you he got armed bodyguards. I bet you any kind of money he's got armed bodyguards. A communist is something to behold. And their ignorant followers don't even see their hypocrisy. They're telling them about how much they hate these billionaires, and all the billionaires be the ones supporting him. Hell, most of his money is coming from out of state anyway. They should make that illegal if you donate money from out of state. Why don't we make that illegal? But he's a victim now. 9/11 happens, he becomes the victim, and some of his school-based Muslims. Make it make sense, please.